Hey, everybody, it's Robert C. Stern with The Social Leader. Hope you are doing fantastic on this wonderful Tuesday. And boy, do we have a show for you today. So we are live here on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Just so you know, on LinkedIn, we can't see the comments live in our program, but I have it up on my screen. And I'm just going to make sure that we are live and that we are good. And by the way, if you're watching this on the replay, just type replay in the comments so we know you were here. I have an amazing guest today. We are going to be talking about video, live streaming, lots of things going on. And I'm just making sure, I don't know why, but I don't see it on LinkedIn yet. Maybe there was a delay. Looks like we are here. Perfect. And that we are good. And we are here so I can see you. So please say hi. Please let us know you're here. Let me tell you just very quickly about our guest. Debra Alfarone from the lovely, I like to call it the state of Long Island because it really was in its own situation, but it's from New York. Grew up on Long Island, as I did myself. Debra Alfarone is an Edward R. Murrow award-winning TV anchor and reporter, and you might see her on CBS worldwide these days. She is also the on-camera confidence coach and TEDx and Keynote speaker. We're going to be talking video and live streaming. So don't have a lot of time, without any situation here, I am bringing her on now. Debra!
Hey there, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
The weather down in DC today. We're getting our flyover here in about 5 minutes.
Looking out I'm looking outside and it's okay. It's kind of sunny. It's a little bit chilly, but good. We're happy.
Yeah, we're getting our flyover soon from our Thunderbirds.
Oh.
Up here in the New York, New Jersey area. So, yeah. You know. But so how have you been? You've had an interesting ride the past few years.
Life is always a ride, right? And I do believe that the things that happen to you happen for you. And so right now, I mean, you and I became connected when I was working at WPIX in New York City, which, by the way, I'm moving from this apartment to a house like the end of this week. And what's funny is I found a lot of stuff from my time at WPIX recently. And that was years ago, like 7 years ago.
Oh, my God.
I looked at this, you can't see, hopefully you can't see because I pushed it out of the way, but I found a notebook and I wrote in the notebooks. I always love having notebooks and writing plans for the future and things that I visualize. And it's pretty creepy weird, but I visualized at that time the things that I have in my life right now. And I didn't even know that until 2 nights ago when I pulled out that old notebook and said, oh, damn. Like, I was a single girl living in New York City. I'm now married and we are moving into a house and I have my own business. And at that time, I really wanted to be at network. And now I work for the network. Like, it's just crazy. That was nuts. But yeah, a lot of stuff has happened. And by the way, none of that happened easily. Okay. You know, it's been like this.
And it started rough for you in the beginning years, early on Long Island.
So you're talking about like my formative years growing up. Yeah. So, you know, and anyone who follows me knows, and anyone that wants to Google me can find it too, that I did a TEDx talk in 2015 talking about something I'd never talked about before. And that was the fact that I was a high school dropout. And I never shared that with anyone because as a news reporter, you don't want to share anything weak about yourself or not weak, because it's not weak. It's just could be perceived as weak. Like anything anyone could go, like maybe you're not so smart. So you don't want to ever show people your cards. And I realized in 2015 that by dipping into the mess of my life, I was actually bringing people along with me on my success of my life. So people connect with your mess, not your success. And they don't want to see you looking perfect and everything being perfect in your life. That's like, you know, a robot or like, you know, a model or something. Like that's kind of boring, actually. People want to be along with you on the journey and they want to see the tough spots in your life because that's where you connect with people. And I'm sure you have me on here today because I have something to say and I've been through some stuff, not because everything is perfect and glossy and I'm this robot. No.
And that's part of what social media causes psychologically and emotionally. Everybody sees these images of the fast cars and the travel and all this great stuff they think people are going through. And 99% of it's not even real. It's rented.
Not.
It's rented.
And the wrinkles are not there. They're airbrushed out, and the strife and the struggle and the hard work to get to wherever you are, that's not there either. But I can stand in front of a fancy car with a nice dress that I don't even own, but I rent. And you might think, "Ooh, she's got it all." And that ain't true.
Exactly. And going back to what you said, you in your talk, you were talking about, the high school dropout and everything else. And you talk about this in there. You go, labels that define you. And I loved your conversation about the ones that are, and I want you to kind of talk a little more about it, but the ones that you label yourself versus the one you hear from other people.
Well, any kind of label can define you, whether it's something that you put on yourself or someone else says, well, you're this. And then you have the opportunity to either accept that label or not. So a lot of times we put labels on ourselves. I mean, don't we all? I'm too old. Like, oh, I know you're working out, but I'm too old. I'll never be able to get rid of, this here or whatever it is. We're always like putting labels on ourselves. I'm too this for that. I'm too that for that. That's fine for you, but that's not good for me because I'm this way. And we lean into these labels. And I just want to shake everyone, like shake and say, is this real? Is this real? Am I too old? Am I too this? Am I too that? Are these labels real? Are they just some freaking words we came up with? And we accept them to be real, or we walk around like they might be real, but none of this stuff is real. And so if this concept of selecting labels and living into them like they're real is something that actually exists, why can't we pick labels that befit us and help catapult us to our new level in life? So I had the label high school dropout, and I talk about this in that talk. Okay, gotcha. If I was going to live into that, wouldn't that just color everything that I do? I wouldn't apply for this job because I'm a high school dropout. They're not going to, no. You get to pick your labels and you get to choose your own. And you also get to say, when someone puts someone on you, you go, no, thank you. Boom. You can kind of put up your hands and just bat it away. You don't have to accept those labels. I also plan my future with my labels, which is why it was so brilliant that I found that notebook with a whole bunch of things. Nowhere did anyone call me a network reporter. Nobody. No one ever said to me, you should be at network. Nobody. Not one person, not my mom, not my dad, not any boss I ever had, not any friend I ever had. Nobody ever said that to me. I wrote that label down and I ended up creating it and living into it. So if you've got something you want to do, write it down. Choose that label. Choose exactly what you want to do. And then think to yourself, well, if I was that network reporter, what would I do? How would I show up? How would I dress? Who would I call? What would I do? How would I show up in the world? And that's what I started to do. And I started walking confidently towards that label. Now, it wasn't perfect. And it wasn't a direct walk from here to here. No, I had to go over here and then over here and then over here to get to it. But if you do define your own label, it's up to you. It's up to you to choose what label you want. And this could be in anything. This could be as an entrepreneur. This could be in your business. I mean, I even used this in finding my husband. Like, seriously, I was single and I told people, you know what? Finding love is hard. Like, dating is tough. Finding the appropriate person is hard. And I went around with those labels. Tough, hard, difficult, like finding a needle in a haystack. It happens for other people, all those labels. When I changed my labels is when I met my husband. And I'm not messing around. I'm not making it up. I do really, truly believe and live by this. I had to think love is easy. Love is available to me. Wonderful people out there exist, and I'm ready for that person now. So it can apply at any point of your life.
Well, then it goes into the other part of your speech, words matter.
Absolutely. Everything's a choice. Everything is a choice. And I don't always live by this. I mean, I just want you to know I'm not perfect. I'm so not perfect at all. But I have to remind myself it's a choice. You wake up in a bad mood, that's your choice. You're mean to your spouse, that's your choice. Words matter. The words that we pick matter. And so, hi, how are you? Great shirt you're wearing. Like, you know, you can be kind to people, and then it kind of gets a momentum and changes the vibration of what's happening around you, and it lifts you up. It really does. So the words you use matter. I really do try to live by the 4 agreements. If you know that book, it's a book. And if you don't have it, you need it. And one of them is be impeccable with your words. And that's very important as a news reporter. Obviously, you have to be impeccable with your words, but you have to be impeccable with your words in life. So I'm never going to call a fire a blaze or an inferno, because those words have a different vibration to them. They have different meanings than a fire. Like, you got to pick the right word, right? And I'm never going to say to someone when I'm really mad, I am so mad at you, I can't believe you did that. Like, no, I'm going to be accurate with my words. And I'm going to say, right now, I'm experiencing a feeling of anger. And it's not because you did this, it's because I'm experiencing it that way, right? You didn't make me angry. I'm experiencing your words in a way that are making me angry. I'm always trying to be impeccable with my words, because no one makes you angry. You allow yourself to be angry. Because then, did you ever like see a situation and 2 different people see it and they're like, I don't know, like totally different? How about 2 siblings? They totally look at their parents in a different way. Because
and your parents look at the siblings a different way.
Oh, and that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing. Right? But people can look at something in a different way, and it's the same darn thing that happened. So being impeccable with your words, it eliminates a lot of needless suffering.
So here you are, you're at WPIX, great New York, #1 media market in the world. You left that, went to anchoring down in DC. I think that's what, #5 or #6 media market in the world. You've always been in the top media markets. Now you're doing this affiliate where you're doing national news with CBS, and you decide, I just have an extra few minutes a day, I might as well start a company.
So another thing is, I wrote that down in my book that I wanted my own company. You know, I wanted this, and I don't know what it was, actually, I didn't even know what the company was. I literally wrote down these words, and I have it somewhere in my drawer here. But thank you. Like, one of the things is you thank the world for something that you want as if you already have it. And I said, thank you for my new spiritual business. Now, spiritual, okay? That's something that gets a little bit like, oh, what does she do exactly? It's a little woo-woo. Okay, I connect to people inside about what it is they want to bring about on the outside of their world. That's it. I'm not religious. I'm not, here with crystals. I'm just saying, well, there's nothing wrong with crystals. There's nothing wrong with religion. I'm just going to help people be the best them they can be. And a lot of us have to be on video. Actually, everybody needs to be on video because we're not face-to-face anymore. So we all need to be on video. And you'll see I'm wearing this shirt that says, be you. You are your superpower, the way that you are and the way that you're not. So I wrote this thing down. Thank you for my spiritual business. And sure enough, here it is. I just knew I wanted to impact lives in a way that I didn't want it to be beholden to any network or any company. It's great if they want to promote me, but I can't worry about that. And I can't also fall prey and victim to that. Like, maybe somebody wants to hire me and give me a big national show, but maybe somebody doesn't. And I'm not going to stop with my message anyway. So I started this business to help people be great on camera. And I realized in working with people that the one thing that they all need to know is that they have a voice and that they are enough. So that's the spiritual business. Yeah. And I made it happen with those words.
So the company's Debra, obviously, Alfarone Media, and you're helping people with their messages, with the technology side of camera work, microphones, lighting, and also the strategy a little bit behind use of video, whether it's live like this or pre-recorded.
Yeah, I mean, you are just a master at all of this stuff, by the way. If I could pay you a compliment, you're everywhere all the time. And that's what you kind of got to be. I mean, if you're going to bother to share your voice, let it be everywhere, amplify it, right? And it only takes a couple of things to make things look professional. Like right now, I'm using a microphone. I'm not just sitting here like, hope you hear me. No, I have a microphone, I have a light, I have things set up. I am moving, so my background is not perfect. Thank you. But not only do you want to make sure that you hit your points, you're concise and conversational, but you also want to be able to amplify your voice. And guess what? TV is a great medium, and I've been working in it for more than a dozen years, and I know what pitches get through and what pitches don't get through. So let me ask you this, Robert. Do you ever talk to somebody and they want to tell you this, but it takes all of this? Wait, where am I? There. All of this, right? Like there's a lot of words that are spoken to communicate this point. So I help people go from that.
I have a 13-year-old. Does that answer the question?
Okay, sure.
You want this, but you get this.
Yeah, but we all have that friend, regardless of age, that, they tell you about, and I've also interviewed that person. Like, you say, well, did you hear the gunshots? And they were like, I was on my way to the store because I ran out of cereal and I needed to get more cereal. So I got in my car and I went down blah, blah street and then and on and on and on. And then I got to the store and that's when I heard the shots. So you hear a lot of talking and it's like, here we go. Let's put this all together here. So I help people be concise and I help people reach out to the media to be an expert on TV, to share their story, because every story is worth a platform.
And it really boils down to a strategy on how you want your message to be heard. Because one of the big things about strategy and message to me is that, you can want a certain message to come out about you, about your company, about whatever you're doing. But the perception could be totally different.
Well, right now we're hearing a lot about different companies that are communicating with people. Let's go back even to that Peloton ad that got all of the bad press about the woman who looked like maybe she was being held hostage, the wife, and like, oh, I've got you this bike. What are you saying? I need to work out. There was kind of the message was missed there. And hey, it happens. Like we've all said something that made somebody like, what? There was this Washington Post article recently about want to take a vacation on your, quarantine life. Okay, just go stay in your guest room. Well, it fell on deaf ears for a lot of people who don't have guest rooms. There's a lot of, you got to really know your audience. And if your audience is struggling with making payments and making rent and living in small places and maybe not eating, like you don't tell them, don't use the word guest room. Okay. So it is about really like thinking about what you say and how you say it. But you know what? The best thing is to know your purpose and your why. That's the number one tip. Know what it is that you want to do. What is your purpose? And like for me, my purpose is I want to give people a voice because I didn't have a voice growing up. As a high school dropout, I didn't have a voice. I want to help other people have a voice. Now, how do I communicate that to people? I can't say, isn't it worth it to spend money on my course? Well, it is, but if you don't have money, I have to really think about that. Like this is a time when we really have to be cognizant of the suffering of others. And so I've changed up my launch strategy for my course that I'm going to tell you about because I knew that things are different now. Things are different for me now. Things are different for you now. Things are different for everyone. And God bless you if it's not different for you. But if it's not different for you, you need to be cognizant that it is different for people and change things up. And so I have scholarships for my course now for people who come to me with a story and they want to do the work, but they just can't afford it. I'm here for that. We really need to just change it up and just know who's listening. But, really, it does come down to, what is your why? What is your purpose? And you have to know that. And then you got to kind of test it a little bit because you may not, have the perspective on it.
100%. So you have a course coming up, and I was reading a little bit about it. And if I'm not mistaken, it's Seen, Heard, Paid.
Seen, Heard, Paid. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
What's it about?
So I have been working in TV for a dozen years, and I've learned a lot of stuff. I mean, day after day, we put together stories and they have to be a minute and 15 seconds, maybe a minute and 30 seconds if you're lucky, but they really are. The average news story is really small. So I've learned how to tell a story, pack a punch, and make an impact in a minute. And I know that that's the kind of stuff that entrepreneurs, experts, influencers, authors, coaches, real estate professionals, whoever the heck needs to be able to do in a video, because video connects us. It always connected us. It connects us even more now. And just to give you some stats, like if you've got a video on your website, you're 53% more likely to end up #1 on a Google search result. I mean, I could go on and on. I won't bore you with numbers and stuff, but just trust me, video connects us. So if you're making videos and you're taking a long time to get to your point, you're going to lose people. So I help people create videos, make them look professional. I help them with knowing their mindset and their worth, like getting into the right mindset to creating it. Because a lot of people, this is what stands in our way. We always come up with an excuse before we hop on video and share our message and our story. And then in addition, so knowing how to create the video, what to say, how to say it, how to make it look, the equipment, what to wear, etc. So that's the whole scene part. The heard part is all about reaching out to the press. Because if you've ever sat at home and gone, why is that person on TV and not me? It's because they reached out. And I know exactly the way to reach out to people because I am a journalist and I know I interview people and I think of, okay, well, who is it that I need to talk to? Yeah, it's the person who reaches out to me in a way that they know what I'm talking about. And you don't want to pitch someone that has nothing to do with what you do. You want to be strategic and build relationships. So I give everything I've learned in my dozen+ years on how to do that. And then paid is just, what do you do once you have gotten, the media, you've been on TV, you've been on this blog, and what do you do with it? And so I help people with everything I've learned in my entrepreneurial journey, from like scheduling to, blasting it out on social media, so that you can have a bigger presence and you can essentially be paid, have more customers and more name recognition.
Yeah, it's true. And it's funny because, like, as you know, I'm doing social media now for 10 years for business and stuff. And earlier on, those first 4 years, I'm like, these people are on TV and I know more than them. How come I'm not getting asked? And then I learned about Harrow, and all these different things to start reaching out. And reaching out for the TV side is wonderful, but so many people forget about the basics, like follow-up.
And you can't just send one press release to someone and never talk to them. Like the people who I call when I need to interview someone and the expert, we're talking all the time. There are people who I have their cell phone in my phone. I have your cell number in my phone. I say, hey, can you talk today about this? And they're like, yeah, I'll meet you on the corner. Like, I've met people in corners. In New York, I remember meeting people, like they were having dinner and they came out from their dinner to meet me to give me a soundbite because they knew how the press has a deadline. Like, you have a deadline, you got to get it done. And New York people are very savvy about that. These experts, they really know that stuff. But you can do it anywhere. I had this one client who, she's in Connecticut, and she worked with me on getting all of, figuring out exactly how to reach out to the press. She was actually my test subject for the whole heard part of Seen, Heard, Paid. And within 2 weeks, she was on TV 4 times because she knew to be available. And here's another tip for people. Hey, Christmas, they got to put TV on. I mean, a lot of times they got to put TV on. So what can you do and pitch for a Christmas segment or a New Year's segment, like the day before New Year's Eve? Like, who are we going to get that day? Like, it's got to be appropriate for the time of the season. And people aren't available on New Year's Day. Like, they're out and about. So if you can say, hey, here's a great way to start your new year off right with social media, or if you're a psychologist and you're like, here's how to have a great mindset to start off the year right, like, that's a good pitch. People will need that. They just want you to make it easy for them because journalists need content.
Just like yourself for your business, you need to continually produce content. So do the journalists.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm always like, let's get this going and just be a pain in the ass.
And it's not even just like you said, Christmas. It's all holidays. If you have products or services that are good for Mother's Day, you should have been talking about it 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, definitely. But still, someone might drop out that day.
So you got to keep the follow-up, anything change, anything good? Is there squeeze me in for 3 minutes?
Things change. And then on the flip side, sometimes it is Mother's Day, but there's been some big news story that broke that day. So that Mother's Day segment is thrown out.
Yep.
So you have to be flexible. And what happens is if that does happen to you, the reporter or the producer or whoever has booked you, they're going to feel bad about that. And they're going to try and get you on again because it's called reciprocity, like, oh, I feel bad. Like, well, you came all the way here and I couldn't put you on. I'll do something. We'll do a tape segment. We'll put it on the website. And the next time I'll call you. Like it's a relationship you build.
Definitely. So the course is launching, if I'm not mistaken, Friday.
It launches Friday. And there's going to be early bird pricing, $100 off. I'm really excited about it. So you've got my website up there. And if you click on how to work with me, I think it is, and go to entrepreneur, you'll see everything having to do with seen, heard, paid. But the easiest thing to do is really just drop your email and I can put you on my email list, and then you get all the info. Not only do you get the info on the course, when it starts, what the different modules are, but you get a $100 off code. And you also get the information about scholarships. So I'm offering 3 scholarships to people who write to me and share their story of why they really need to have this at this time. I really want to serve people. This is just not a time to make money, although we all have every right to make money. Okay. Because our gifts are valuable in the world. So for anyone who's thinking, oh, I don't want to do that. No, know that your gifts are valuable. And you have to just communicate with people in the right way, and you have to offer more value. And so that's what I'm doing.
Now, as the modules, is it all going to be pre-recorded, or are you going to do some live with people, or?
So 6 of the 8 modules are pre-recorded, and there's a whole bunch of worksheets and all sorts of stuff with that. And then I'm going to have 2 live courses too. So I'm excited about that because I love live. Live is everything.
Oh, it is. I have just figured out, I think it was the other week, that I have done. Now, granted, you've been in journalism for years, and and I know because I've seen you there. But I mean, I have done live streams in the past 5 years. I'm only doing live streaming for 5 years, and I've done over 2,700 of them.
Wow! So
it's like. And like even like we're using StreamYard, or I introduced you to, you're like, oh my God, it does all this. Wait a minute.
It's cool. And so let me ask you this: like, I think live connects people. I think video connects people, and live connects you. So what's the feedback been as far as your live streams? What do you hear from people? Give me some of that success of all of your live video.
You know what's funny about live streaming is I feel live streaming gets your audience, whoever's watching, to learn more about you, your voice. I mean, you ever call somebody up, you're emailing them or texting them like crazy, you never heard their voice, and that first time you're on the phone with them, you're like, that's what they sound like? It's like that's not what I expected at all. So video and live streaming give the audience the ability to really learn about you.
Yeah.
Mannerisms. Are they always doing the hand waving? Are they constantly looking down at the comments like you've said on some of your things and I've said that they're not looking at the pinhole up here? Are they, you learn so much more by hearing them live and being able to interact. So like to give you the example, this is a friend of mine. He's a producer on Sirius, Chuck Granada. He works with Sinatra. He does the Sinatra channel. He helps produce it and stuff.
How cool.
So being able to.
Very New Jersey.
Of course.
I love it.
Even though we're Long Island people, but. But to be able to talk like this and be able to, I remember that first live stream I did, and that was on Periscope, and I was a deer in the headlights.
Who's not?
Because I'm like, you get all these apps and all this wonderful technology, but there's no book to read how to use it. So what happens is that, all right, you start her up, and you see yourself, and you're like, okay, Am I live? Am I not? Oh my God! What's
working? Is this working?
Hello?
Right. Exactly.
And what happens is all of a sudden these comments start coming up, and you're like, "Oh my God! People are here. They're asking me questions," and you start to interact with people, and that's why I so love live streaming, because it is that interaction. And even Chuck's Chuck's putting a comment in here. We all are. The first time we put ourselves out there.
You got to put yourself out there. Otherwise, well, what is this life we're living if we're not interacting and connecting with other people?
And that's why I love live streaming and video too, but live streaming more because of the interaction you have. Now, granted, when it's over, like these on LinkedIn and Facebook, it turns into a replay.
Yeah.
And then that's where, believe it or not, people, live streaming is wonderful, but the video replay gets more views than the live stream itself.
It lives on.
It lives on, and this is your green content that just keeps going and going and going until you pull it down if you need to. But I am a big believer video live streaming. I think it's demanded in every business. I mean, even now with the whole Corona situation, where you see the township meetings are now being Zoomed live because you can't go to town hall and watch them. The school board meetings are being done that way now. You have companies. We have, like I told you, I know I reached out to you, I think it was about 6 months ago, because I was planning on doing a summit, like a social media. And I was going to bring you in as my video girl. Well, obviously we can't do that right now. But when we're back to it, you're coming back to New York.
We're doing it right now.
No, but when we get to a live one, you're coming back up here for it.
I never say no to a trip to New York. Let me tell you, I'm always happy to visit my home.
But it's that interaction.
We are all on video now, right now. Like, we're all on video. And if you're not, people don't get to know you. So people want to know your why and why you do what you do. And of course, they have to connect to what you offer. Sure, I'm not going to, do business with someone who's a real estate professional until it's time to go buy a house, and I'm ready for that. Gotcha. But I want to get to know you now. And so now it's a longer sales cycle, maybe, until I would buy a house from you. But I want to hear from that real estate person who's going to say, hey, do you ever think about staging your home? And here's give me some tips on how to stage your home, or give me some tips on how to make my space a little bit, nicer looking, whatever it is. Like, now's the time to connect to your people and provide them with value added content. So if you're a real estate person, don't think that your video is going to make someone go buy a house from you today, but they will eventually. If they like you, they're going to continue to talk to you.
The 3 magic words that video and live streaming help with: know, like, trust.
Yeah. That's it.
They get to know you. They get to see your personality and like you. Because listen, everybody's personality is different. I'm more fun-loving. There's some people that come on and straight business tone. This is what I do, and that's their personality, and they're not going to change it. Yeah. But the more information and content you put out, the more they start to trust you, make you credible.
Absolutely.
So,
and I tell everyone who will listen, if I can do what I'm doing, you can do anything. Because there's no reason that a high school dropout became a network TV reporter with their own business. I'm not saying life is rosy every day and I'm just sitting on piles of cash here. I'm saying that you can create anything you want in your life if you just set your mind to it. Truly, give me an excuse and I'll knock it down. Because
excuses are out there for everything. And
oh my gosh, yeah.
Everybody has an excuse. The true people will beat the excuse.
Yeah.
So, all right. So anybody who's looking to learn more about camera work, seen, heard, paid, go to debraalfarone.com. Get in the link, get in, see if it's a feasible situation. Even drop your email in, because like you said, you can talk and see if this is the right course for you. It may not be the right course for everybody.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing too.
Right. The right people will find you. If you want to make great videos, I'm your girl. So, hey, it might not be the thing. Maybe you don't want to make great videos. That's okay. We can be friends anyway.
Exactly. Look at us.
There you go.
All right. So until the next conversation live, Debra, I thank you for coming on. I will see everybody real soon. We have some more guests coming on as the weeks go on. And I hope everybody has an amazing day.